Well, I do expect to see the technicality coming in from Peach, one of the best Peach players in Mexico. The other one, of course, being Leaf, who is in your home region. But we'll have to see about that later. And it is going to be the classic Alex that Manny always boasts versus Fakes Peach. And we are starting with the turnips, and I do not blame him. You want to play the distance, but you also have to be able to force Steve and Alex to be able to play your game instead of the other way around, because I think that is the very common theme, actually. Like, Steve and Alex are pretty much always able to force the opponent to try and do something, but I like the hitboxes that we are seeing thrown out on the side of Kafeik, because that will allow him to deal with the blocks, right? That is the game, and he's even reacting to the way that that Manny is bouncing off those blocks.
Yeah, and also there's a big element in play here. You have to prevent Steve from being able to mine so much. He can continuously mine for like, what, 20 seconds straight? No contest at all. Manny lives, Manny thrives off of those moments where you let him do his own thing. He is, of course, aiming to receive the diamond. He is also trying to get as much iron as possible, and if you look at his materials bar, he is now all out of it. He only has wood, so he can place a few blocks, but there is really nothing he can do in terms of burst options. He won't be able to use the anvil or the minecart until now. He actually gets one, and guess what? It's going to set up for a spike, and Kafeik won't come back. That's how easily Manny can take advantage of those.
That is exactly what he was trying to take advantage of. No hit right there, and Manny is going to get the extension, even with the wooden tools. And even though a part of it broke, like, still managing to get something going. And there is no iron anymore. And it doesn't seem like Manny wants to make use of that diamond just quite yet, as the percent has racked up quite nicely on Kafeik's side. What was looking so nice at the beginning for him, it just turned around in a matter of seconds, finally managing to be able to take that stock. And the diamond does come into play alongside a couple of iron blocks. Oh, Manny immediately burns them. That is interesting, as you normally see them like different materials be placed as blocks instead of the iron, which is the one of the most crucial tools that Alex does have in her kit, to be able to use the minecart, to be able to use the anvil, and of course to force that specific type of situations, right? Manny does try for the break, but that is a one hit from the Mr. Saturn, and that might just be an edgeguard situation because of that, and he lets it bounce. Look at that setup! My goodness, the entire charge on that full knockback placement, and that is going to be a stock. Yeah, I mean, we thought Manny was the only one. If you guys thought that Manny was the only one that was able to swing the stocks like that, then you were very wrong. Kafeik showing us the prowess of Peach's punish game.
True, and also look at that materials bar. He only has a single block of wood. Now he has more materials. He's able to use the burst options, but I insist, whenever Kafeik notices that Manny is running low on materials, that's when he can go in, and the percent speaks for itself. Even though Kafeik has yet to take Manny's last stock, well, he is still living on his own, and that means that he has not been hit by those burst options. And of course, look at that knockback. The next forwarder will very likely get the knockout. Although, of course, you have to first wait for it. Manny still might find a chance to mine, but dude, the pressure is building up. The turnips are doing so much work preventing Manny from holding the ledge, and now we get the side B, and that's gonna be game one. Kafeik with an amazing, solid game plan, prevent Manny from mining anymore, and then, of course, take advantage of those moments where he has no materials at all.
Yeah, he seemed very accustomed to the way that Manny was trying to use the blocks to mitigate its movement, but Peach, of course, does have the advantage of having to float and being able to choose wherever she wants to throw out those aerials, and of course with the extra damage, as the float does have the full jump aerial multiplier, so maybe even making sure to get rid of those blocks a little easier than normal. But regardless of that, the positioning from Kafeik was stellar, and so his punish game just shined so brightly, as we saw. Like, he was, even though he lost his stock, I don't want to say in a tragic way, because it really wasn't like that. It was a nice setup from Manny, but like, he was swinging for fences, and then he got his stock taken, and then Manny started racking up percent, and that is exactly the type of situation that you want to avoid when you are facing versus Steve, right? Because whenever those characters are able to just turtle up or just set up their type of gameplay then it's so hard for the other player to come back, or it usually feels like it. But here at Kafeik, making it look seamless, as he just was like, okay, I still know what I have to do. I still know the punishes that I want to go for. Those options might not be guaranteed, but I am still going to go for those setups, and even getting the shield break, even getting that amazing edge guard afterwards. So, I mean, you cannot ask for more. A lot more space this time around, as it is Town and City.
Yes, indeed. It is going to be Town. And keep in mind, whenever you bring Steve to stages like this one, it's going to be a lot harder for them to get the materials, and especially Iron. And at that, I keep talking about how important that Iron bar is. And it definitely is. Manny also trying to set up shop with those blocks, preventing Kafeik from going in, but Kafeik clearly has a plan to deal with those blocks. It's super easy for him to just approach and do neutral air or forward air. He might even be able to cross over with those blocks and then hit Alex, like he is doing right now. Look at this. Oh my lord, the combo game, Roy. It's so amazing to me how Kafeik from a single turnip can find so much knockback and then some.
Yeah, not even just the exact like combo game, right? Like, he's using those turnips to cover some of the options that Manny's trying to escape from by the air, which shows just how much confidence Kafeik has in the way that Manny is going to be choosing to move, which also goes to show once more just the matchup knowledge, and just throw those turnips away. You know that you don't have to force any options, and even turning around, as he knows the Elytra doesn't have much lag in the ground to be able to try to punish that. Finally, Manny getting a solid smash attack right there, not even trying to approach. I love that Kafeik seems very aware of the options that he has to respect, and he's still going to be able to make it back. Oh my god, the carousel not cut a little short because of those blocks. Great recognition from Manny to actually make it a little more difficult, right? Maybe even just trying to put some pressure makes a huge difference, but those combos as well. Like, if we were talking about the punish game from Peach, then we also have to talk about the punish game from Steve and Alex, because both these characters are going to be hitting like trucks.
Yes, indeed. Speaking of the truck, there's another burst option here. Actually, Manny being a lot more resourceful with his burst options. We usually see him go for these a lot more. Right as I say, when he's being resourceful, he goes for 2 in a row, like 4 in a row. So yeah, he is running through his materials real quick, but it's also catching Kafeik off guard. Earlier on, he was taking his time. He wasn't being hurt by those quite as often, but now Manny has found a new way to position himself and a new way to bait Kafeik into going in. And there you go. That's exactly what he's looking for. Prevent Kafeik from getting any of these uppers and stuff with that, with the anvil or with the minecart, and then ride that momentum as far as possible. At the very beginning of this match, it was looking like Kafeik had completely read Manny, but now we see the comeback, the combos going on, and it's a reverse 2-stock. And like Kafeik ended the first game in a 2-stock, now we have another one, but for Manny.
Yeah, Kafeik get a little overzealous in a couple of situations, and Manny, of course, was going to be able to capitalize on such a thing. I mean, I love to see the counter adaptation. That is the name of the game in tournament play. Manny looking like he is a different man in this second game. As well, we spent a good chunk of that second game talking about how, Kafeik seemed to have just figured out what was going on, but instead he was like, no man, I still have more tricks under my sleeve. I can still play a lot more options in neutral, and I can still bring a lot to the table. So, as he is doing so, we're going to see at the very least the game number 3 right here, and we will go to the next stage. I wonder if we are going to see like a wider stage this time around, or just shorter, because Manny just opted to go for space, and instead is going to be no platforms for this next counter.
Yep, super important for Kafeik. He does not want to give Manny the extra options to set up shop. You might have noticed that sometimes Manny would place a couple of vertical blocks and then end them right at the platform, which, if you know, the platforms are somewhat of a trap in and of themselves. There's still a hazard here in Ultimate. It's kind of complicated to get down from those. And Manny actually seems to be going in his favor, the fact that we don't have anywhere for Kafeik to really camp it out either. There you go. That's the first TNT block kill in a while that I have seen. It's not very common, but Kafeik kind of forgets how to deal with those, and so Manny completely dominant in this game 3.
Let's see. Oh my god, look at that. Like, Manny As you were saying, like looking a little dominant, and let's turn around the situation here, says Kafeik, as he is trying to push those blocks away. A couple of explosions later, which were not working for Manny earlier. Now it seems like the TNT is back on his side. Not too much percent as well, and those challenges, it feels like Kafeik knows what he is trying to do versus that minecart, but not being able to hit it at the right timing, which, like, I mean, Peach's backer is really good as disjoint is really good to use as even a burst option or react at the different heights because of the float, right? However, ooh, and
Oh, wow.
no tech zone, and that is going to be a loss of a stock. I was not expecting that, but look at the way that Manny just making a little mistake turned into a different situation. However, still managing to hold on to that lead.
Yes, indeed. He is still trying to push this forward, and there's a TNT block once more. Kafeik hits it, but this time the explosion does not connect with the Peach main. Although, you know, one thing that I have been seeing, yes, exactly, this is kind of the symptom of that. Kafeik has been trying to go for a lot more approaches from underneath, and Manny is more than ready to capitalize off of those. He places a few blocks so that Kafeik has something else to hit instead of him, and then punishes with the anvil once Kafeik has gotten rid of that same block, so that the anvil doesn't have anything to clash against. So Manny with a great game plan when it comes to punishing overextensions, and yes, you cannot overextend against Steve. Oh, but really creative way for Kafeik to avoid that.
Oh, and even getting the opposite shot of shield, knows that Manny was trying to get a little overzealous there on the shield pressure, and pairing the anvil, quite crucial. I like that. Avoiding the minecart with movement, knowing that if you are gonna roll or trying to run away, then you are gonna get caught regardless. Like either the hit or if Manny let go and went for the command graph part of it, right? And here, Kafeik trying to push the issue a little bit, as we do see might not be desperation, but definitely like the urgency to try and close the gap. Manny playing from a distance. This time Kafeik not falling for it. Same spacing, respecting this time a lot more. And he is just waiting for Manny to run out. However, you already know that Manny's going to be trying to mine out so much more materials. This is the opportunity, not being able. That minecart just being so disruptive versus the spacing that Kafeik is trying to manage. And the punish, this should be big, and he is going to try for it. All the sparks not going to get it. Just
No,
the game sometimes, yeah, the game sometimes lies. Like let's not kid ourselves. But here has come down to much closer situation that we did saw before, and the trump into the backer this time around. It's going to be it. So no worries here for Kafeik, as he managed to clutch it up and be able to bring it back. I like what I see. Like, it is this counter adaptation going back and forth, but it does seem like when Manny figures something out, he figures it out for longer. So let's see if he's able to push this through, because I am fully expecting this to go to Game 5 at this point.
Yeah, same, to be honest. He just rides the waves, as much like Kafeik does. I mean, the adaptation in this particular game was avoiding those situations where he was attacking from underneath. He thought, hey, I can just go for something horizontal and then end in a way that I send Manny upwards. And there was no chase all the way to the top blast zone. He was very smart to hold back when he needed to. And also, even the Stream Master was confused at one point, like, hey, oh, man, they didn't actually get the kill, so I have to go back to the game. But still, like I told you, it's about calculating your overextension. That final parasol that technically gave us a kill screen was a symptom of this, knowing when to chase your opponent down.
Yes, of course. Like, I mean, he was very certain that Manny was going to try to opt for a certain option at that height, and he was like, I have to pull the trigger right here. Might catch him off guard, because you can miss the eye on that and you will die off the top. So, I mean, it was a gamble that in the end paid off, because he managed to keep an advantage. And sometimes you have to only push that limit ever so slightly and put your opponent on the edge, perhaps a little more, and that allowed Kafeik here to be able to get that game. And now, well, I am fully, as I said earlier, I'm expecting to see Manny take this game and turn this into a completely even situation. But I mean, the way that Kafeik is playing right here, he could be proven wrong.
Yes, indeed. There were certain things that Kafeik kind of forgot in game number 2, including how to deal with that TNT block. But look at this. He is now getting the push. just barely holding shield too. Like he has a good idea as to how to attack that, but you know, you can never be too careful. You really have to calculate your options around that, or else you're going to eat up a stock, a very early stock of that. And also look at how long that minecart stays on. You cannot bring out a second minecart when there is still one on the field. So very smart from Kafeik to just push it ever so slightly, not attack it so it doesn't go away, and so Manny does not have another burst option.
Yeah, for the longest time, like, Kafeik was expecting Manny to try and approach, so he was playing at a distance at which minecart was not going to really be a threatening option, but what was going to be a threatening option is those tools, and now we do have the diamond on deck, a little gold and iron to be able to give more power into the minecart and not falling for it. I appreciate the fact that he was like, oh, okay, there is a TNT on the other side, but also, like, huge props to Manny, right, for being able to set that up earlier, but look at this combo, and he's going to try to extend. No, look at it. Just being able to seamlessly go from 0 to 72, and Manny is looking on fire at this point. Even though Kafeik was trying to play a little more patient, he still seems to be able to brute force his way through and just make everything happen.
Yes, indeed. This brute forcing also works as a side B. Look at that. Gets rid of the minecart, and now probably will get rid of Alex too. Oh no, but great mix-ups for Manny on his trajectory. Unfortunately, he still gets caught on the aerial, and so that's the first stock for Manny as well. And now the block kinda betraying him because he brings Kafeik back to the stage as well. Another minecart though, once again losing track of when those minecarts are coming. You know, there's a bit of a, there's always a hint. Steve mains, especially Manny, usually jump back and then toss out the minecart. Like, kind of like this. There's always a bit of a lean back, so you can tell when that's coming, but I think Kafeik is kind of losing track of that.
Ooh, great parry to be able to punish those options from Steve on the ground. And the next aerial, no, the fair didn't come out quite on time. Like we've seen, it's a great hitbox, but it does take a little while to come out and be punished. I love that Kafeik is able to use the float to be able to bait out an option. However, still, Manny very ready for it, just being able to read the landing from Kafeik, and that is almost going to be a shield break. That was looking very scary. This game is looking like curtains. Let's see if Manny here is able to get the edge guard, and he will get the ledge trap at the very least, and we are going into game number 5.
And a very slight pop-up too. He knows he is working hard to get those wins, but still, Kafeik loses track of things for 1 second, and it snowballs super quick. Manny, if I were to give him an archetype as a player, he's not a combo heavy player, he is not necessarily a neutral heavy player, he is a snowball player, because when one thing goes his way, he is going to ride that wave as far as possible. And now we're going into one of those stages that we don't see very often, but Namis here is taking a chance at making it legal. We're gonna go to Fountain of Dreams, and if you have been following the Melee discourse lately, people are kind of turning against Fountain of Dreams, even in Melee, but I don't know, I love this stage.
I mean, it's such a pretty stage, and the lag issues seem to be quite inconsistent. I am down to check that out, and I do not think that we are going to get a patch. So if there's any time to try it, it is definitely now. So huge props to Namis for being at least trying, you know, the different flavor of the day here. And Fountain of Dreams, like much like Battlefield, we're going to have that same triplet layout, and that might help Kafeik here to be able to get some more of that neutral going. But let's not even talk about neutral, as Manny is immediately trying to force his punish game into the game and into Peach's face, because like once he gets a hit, even though Peach is a floatier, right, like he is still able to extend it quite far. And we've seen he does not only depend on those vertical combos, he also has the ledge traps, and that's some of the parts that make Steve and Alex such difficult characters to deal against, even when you have a character that has the tools such as Peach, right? Like you have the right hitboxes, you have the frame data, you have the turnips even. But still, you have to come very prepared when you are facing that, because exactly, you're gonna be having to deal with both the cart and the anvil and those shield pressure situations. And even though Peach's out of shield game is not bad, like you could still fall prey into a shield break or a very compromising situation. So definitely it's do or die here for Kafeik, and he will get that Peach bomber from the other side of the field and turn this into his light advantage on this point.
And if you saw that, Manny just leaned back on his chair a little bit. He was like, wait, what? Why did that kill? Well, you saw him mining towards the right. He actually died towards the right, so
yeah.
it was also a DI assistance from his own. And so this game is looking a lot better for Kafeik. And if you notice, well, I don't know if you guys saw that, but there was a brief moment for like 20 seconds or so where Kafeik was just avoiding minecarts and anvils. And this time he misses a single minecart. That's going to be the kill, but also gets a down tilt. And you know how dangerous that move still is. It is the combo starter by excellence for Peach. And now another trade gets Manny off stage. The turnip barely misses him too. He was waiting for that assistance.
He was definitely waiting for it, and let's see a minecart here, but Kafeik was very ready for the trade. He is starting to figure out the points at which Manny is trying to use such a potent option, and who can blame him, right? Because it is so good, the armor, just the grab box, and everything that it does bring to the table. Oh, bouncing back, the Elytra, though, is going to impede Kafeik from getting the punish, rolling back, just knowing that you do not have the spacing to be able to punish at that situation. Then Kafeik will get the stock. Let's see if he's able to extend this as Manny is trailing, and we did have a bob in hand, but the bob bomb went flying the other way around. Let's see, and look at how Peach is able to cover those little vertical situations because of the flow that I was talking about earlier, right? And Manny does seem a little desperate here, but I have not counted him out just yet because we've seen crazier punishes and crazier comebacks from him.
Yes, indeed. Manny has the tools for it, and now he has a lot of iron to work with as well. Here we go, another minecart, another anvil, but Kafeik is ready, although he does give up center stage, and when he does not want center stage, I mean, Manny might just set up shop on the ledge. Even then, it's kind of complicated to approach. You know how hard it's going to be if he goes for an up smash or something. This is kill percent for Kafeik. He has to be extra careful. Also, double backers. And the diamond tools, which we know are going to represent a huge menace for him. Gets a little more percent on top of Manny. There's no counterplay here. There are no anvils or anything, but the back here with the diamond pickaxe will do it. And so, Roy, we're in the last stock situation.
We are in the last stock situation indeed, and that turnip is coming down. Manny being able to avoid the first fire, but look at that turnaround with the backer, and there is the pop-up from Kafeik. He knows that he just made a very, very important stride. And look at Rocks as well, the Benny popping up for him.
It's like, yes, I don't have to play Steve. Let's go.
That is a huge pop-up in the venue, of course. Great effort from Manny, still able to bring this into game number 5. Unfortunately, this is loser's bracket, so he is going to be out of the tournament. And look at that smile. He knows that he played it right, and even though there were a couple of slivers of hope for Manny, in the end, Kafeik managing to clutch it up and just close it out in the way that he wanted, right? Because at the end, it was very clear. I have the lead, and I just have to play it right to like avoid the choke, avoid those options from Steve and Alex, and so I will get a W. So that's what happened in